We are going live now. I was being a little bit silly during the, oh, for crying out loud, the dog. It just drives me nuts. Here's the thing. I have a one-track mind. Like, literally, if there are two things going on at once, I get distracted. So, like, I can be doing something, the dog walks in the room, I'm like, what do you do? How's it going, you guys? How are you doing tonight? So, we're, of course, when we go live with you guys, hi, Ofer, when we go live with you guys, the conversations, they wander around a little bit. That is to be expected because basically, Anthony, we like just hanging out with you guys. And we like sharing this time with the community, and it feels a little bit like, if we can't be around a campfire right now, it kind of feels a little bit like that to me. So we do like hanging out. But I did give us a topic tonight. And the topic tonight is, hey, Oklahoma, what's going on?
And Maine.
And Maine, what's going on? And so I did give us a topic tonight. The topic is the worst stuck. And we will pepper the conversation with stories of when we got stuck and how we got out of it. Brandon, yeah, welcome. Glad you finally caught one of these. Jesse, what's going on? David, from New Zealand, nice to see you.
Windy enough out here.
Hey, 4447, Shannon, wow, getting old school there. I want to tell you guys something.
Hey, Huckleberry.
Hey,
what's up?
Huckleberry, what's going on?
Oh my gosh.
I want to tell you guys something about the member number thing, which is if it doesn't take a tractor, you aren't stuck.
There you go.
I've had times like that.
What's up,
Correct.
Man?
So the worst stuck. We're gonna have a couple of stories about that. I want to tell you guys a story. I was just about to tell you guys a story. And the story is this: when we get together with Overland Bound members around a campfire, we'll go out, whether it's, it's been out as far as West Virginia, been down to Baja, we've been all the way up in Montana, over here in the West Coast. We've been everywhere. We love to get together with members. It's always a blast. And here's the thing: what we say about member numbers is this. Hey, man, your member number doesn't matter. A member is a member. Oh, and that's what everybody will commonly accept because, hey, it's true. An Overland Bound member is an Overland Bound member. And even non-members, you can come and hang out with us, that's okay too. But then the next question that is asked is a person will say, but what's your number?
This old chestnut.
This old chestnut.
Hey,
anyway.
Mason Berry says, so this one time at an Overland Bound rally, I tried to cross a river and missed the rest of the rally I helped plan. What's up, Mason? What's up? Mason?
Yeah, Mason.
Mason Berry.
So here's the thing. I will tell that story about the worst stuck. Mason. Now, he has details. He has the details. I'm just going to give you, from my perspective, overview. We were in the Ozarks, and Mason helped us to plan the Overland Bound Ozark rally. I mean, he just did a fantastic job. Well, it rained. I won't tell this like I'm on my front porch and we have all day long. I'm going to paraphrase. It rained like the dickens in the Ozarks. And the thing about rain in the Ozarks is it makes those rivers do this, and about that fast. Like you can watch it do this. And so we were doing some scouting, and I had noticed that the water was higher than it was the previous day. Mason had gone out, and it was okay. The very next day, well, he went through it, and his engine and his intake disagreed with the fact that it was all okay, and he sucked in a bunch of water, and, well, yeah. It's not engine, water coming in, doesn't go well. I'm going to say that might get the award for the worst stuck tonight.
Yeah. Hey, Mason, tell Pam and Zen we say hi.
Please
give
do.
them a hug.
Yeah, please do.
Overland Pioneers, what's up, man?
What's going on, Overland Pioneers?
What's up?
Any questions in there, or can I tell my next story?
No, got a Got a hey from Montana.
Hey,
From
Montana.
Arizona.
What's going on? What's going on?
Thanks for the note on the package. You're welcome, Rodrigo. Thank you. And, a little update on that. Gosh, guys, we're busting. We'll be busting butt tomorrow through the weekend.
Don't swear.
To get fully.
Family show.
I know. To get fully caught up, and we have a lot to get out, which is awesome, and we're going to be working on it for the next 3 days so that hopefully we are in real time on Monday. Thank you in advance to everybody for their patience.
Yep.
Getting these orders out. We really miss Megan.
So Megan, for those guys that don't know, Megan handles operations, shipping, receiving, inventory, all that kind of stuff for Overland Bound. She's a good friend of ours, friend of Corey's family.
Fun fact about Megan, she was my babysitter growing up.
Yep.
That's how long she's been around my family.
Yeah, getting hot in SoCal, I hear that. Anyway, so she handles all that, but she's not able to come in anymore because of this whole nonsense. And so Corey and I are handling it. And
it's all good.
Yep.
It's all good.
We got our chores this weekend.
It's all good. Hey Wayne, we are looking at taking a trip. We got some ideas. I'd like to get to Coyote Flats and see that.
Want to go to Coyote Flats? Want to go to Alabama Hills? Want to go into the Sierras? So straight east that way. We are following the guidelines, and as soon as the guidelines say, hey, you can travel, be cautious, still wash your hands, but you can travel, I'm heading east, and I'm going into the Sierras.
Adventure awaits Tennessee. Looks like we're end of May, but whatever it takes. We're not,
guys, I'm going to tell a couple Prius stories.
We're not, oh, that's a good one.
I got 2 Prius stories. I can make, if we were actually sitting around a campfire, I could make this Prius story 2.5 hours long. I could. But I'm not. Okay, so you guys saw my video, maybe you saw my video recently. It says, should you go off-grid on your own? And there's a couple of tips and stuff like that. And I mentioned in there that I go off-grid by myself a few times a year. I really enjoy that. It gives me time to think about the bigger picture. And one of these trips, I went out to the middle of Black Rock Desert. And it just, it just great. And my whole point was to be removed from everything and everyone. And so sometimes I'll show footage of the 80 in the middle of Black Rock Desert, and it's like surrounded by nothing. And I went out there, and I was just enjoying myself. I was like, I think I will be isolated and by myself for the next at least 48 hours. I am removed. I'm sitting in there in this chair, I think it was this chair. I'm just looking at nothing because there's nothing around. And I'm like, that's impossible. And I see these two little figures on the horizon. And I don't know if they're walking away from me or if they're walking, towards me, because they're too tiny. I can't tell. I can't see them. But they start getting bigger. 20 minutes later, are we so glad we found you? I can't believe we found you and you got this truck. So it was a couple of hikers out in the middle of no place, out of water, and they had gotten stuck. Hey, things happen to the best of us. The best of plans. They got out there and they got stuck. And what had happened was they were booking along in their Prius, and no, it was not a Prius.
Subaru.
This one was a Subaru. I take that back. The Prius was an Anza Borrego.
Yes.
This was a Subaru.
Borderline Explorer. Yes, I think he saved lives too.
Yes.
I agree.
So I said grab on to the truck, and they got up on the sliders and they led me back to where their Subaru was. And what had happened is in the desert, you guys have to be super careful if you haven't had experience with this. If you go Mojave Road, Black Rock Desert, there's the one up in Oregon. It will look dry, and it is not. It is mud, like that far under the surface, and you'll be booking, and if you're going at any speed at all of a sudden, shunk, you sink in, you're up to your axles in this clay mud that is like super glue. So I saw their Subaru out there, and I aired down, to about 0 PSI, and I was looking around my tires going out as slow as possible, and the ground was swelling up around my tires. It didn't crack, but it was swelling up. I knew it was soft. I knew it was risky. I knew I might bust through. So I crept out there as far as I dared, and then I saw where they broke through, and I said, well, if I go that far, I'm certainly going to break through. So I didn't go any farther, ran a winch line. I have to tell this. I'm sorry, I got to tell this. So I got paint on my winch line that says, if you pull any farther, you're going to pull your winch line off the spool. And so I tells the guy, I say, hey, I'm going to pull the winch line out, watch, and when you see the red paint, yell, so that I stop pulling. And I'm pulling, and all of a sudden, tink, my winch cable hits me in the back of the head. I'm like, did you see the red paint? And he goes, I'm sorry. No, I had pulled the winch line off earlier. Yes, there's a little screw that normally holds. Anyway, long story. Anyway, so long story short, I eventually pulled them out using the winch line, and I said, hey, when you get on the dry stuff, you hit the pedal and you keep going. You're welcome in advance. Let's get you unstuck. And they finally got back to civilization. Yeah, so that was stuck. Now I call it the worst stuck. I call it the worst stuck because I spent a half hour digging mud out because I didn't want my truck out there. So I spent a half hour digging out the mud. Then I stuck those MaxTrax underneath their tires, and he got in, and I said, all right, give her the beans, but don't spin the tires on the MaxTrax. And he put his foot down on the accelerator, and those wheels, full throttle, went, They were not moving. He did not have the torque. That's why I say, give me enough reliability, torque, and range, and I'll drive anything. But yeah, didn't have enough torque, and so I eventually pulled him out with the winch. All right, that's my story.
The funny part of that story for me is he and I were we were fighting. I was so done with you. Like,
we never fight. She's making this up for drama.
No, absolutely
we never
not.
argue.
No,
we never
left.
argue. Never.
You went out to the desert. You even took the dog.
Jon Snow needed some desert time.
Yes. That's the beautiful part of having a truck like this. You just
dog like this.
Take a break.
Oh, truck like this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, truck. Yeah, I don't need to come back. I got everything I need in my truck. It's an overland vehicle. That means I have everything. Vehicle-dependent travel. I depend on my vehicle. It has what I need. It's got the water. It's got the food. It's got the shelter. It's got everything I need.
Okay, this is a good one. Hold on. Wayne, really quick, early March for Mojave Road. It's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody, where is it? Somebody wanted to know. Oh, this is Brandon. Brandon McMichael.
Hey, Brandon.
Curious on your scariest animal encounter while off-grid.
No, go away, dog. I'm telling stories. You gotta go away. All right, so scariest animal encounter. Now, I have many, and the Great Pine Cone encounter is the one that I think almost ended my life, and I'll just tell that one quickly because it's a fast story. I set up my chair, this chair, again, on the back of my rig, and there was the tailgate, and I was actually doing a little video editing. I was doing the Gazelle tent review, and it was dark. And I love being off-grid, and I love being out into the forest and the wilderness, but I get scared, all right? Sounds. It's creepy sometimes. You can't see into the woods. And anyway, so the darkness is creeping in, but I got my you know, I got my lights and stuff.
You got the snooze. Baja's giving you the snooze.
Because he's bored of my story.
Yes.
Okay, last one. Pinecone story. All right, last one. All right. Pinecone story. Anyway, pinecone fell out of the tree, dropped right in between my legs, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Okay, that's a fast story. Somebody asked me about an animal story, and I got animal stories.
I know.
Should I
we
just
have a
not?
lot of animal stories.
All right, I'm going to chill.
Yep.
I'm going to chill.
Oh,
wait a minute. Well, wait. So you got to start. You got to tell your story.
Oh, I don't. They all involve you. There was one time we were in the middle of nowhere, and we were sleeping in the back of the truck. And oh, we've come this far. Why not be transparent?
No.
There was one where I woke you up because you kept tooting, and so I woke you up. And
she kicked me out.
You grabbed your sleeping bag.
I like sleeping outside.
I'm gonna go sleep outside then.
I like sleeping outside. I like sleeping outside.
So he fully just like leaves, and I was like, well, I didn't want him to do that. That's a little much. But I was like, all right, he's fine. And then you have to take the story over from here because
anyway,
you were you were sleeping outdoors on the ground.
So sleeping outdoors, you always hear animals when you're out there, and it's no big deal, right? You hear them walking through the underbrush and stuff like that. So it's about 150 yards away. I hear this thing walking, and crack, crunch, crunch. I'm like, okay, that's big, but I'm cool. I'm a little burrito over here in my sleeping bag, but it's way far away, and I start to doze off. Then about 15 minutes later, now it's like maybe 50 yards away or closer, crunch, crunch, crunch. And I'm like, my heart, that one made my heart go, because I'm like, that's close and getting closer. And then it stopped, and I was like, okay, all right. My heart has stopped pounding, and eventually, like 20 minutes later, I start dozing off again. I'm good. It's been like 20 minutes. I don't hear anything. And then right behind me, crunch, and it's like 12 feet away. And I swear to you, I was a jumping inchworm in that mummy bag, and it took me about 3 hops to go 30 feet, and I hit the back of the freaking Land Cruiser, bounding inside. I was laughing my ass
giggling.
off, because I was
giggling so hard when he came back.
I just laughing I knew I wasn't fearful of my life, but I didn't want to have a conversation with I'm sure it was a grizzly bear. It was a Kodiak. I'm sure it was. Anyway.
Okay, Josh Kipp, best recovery story. Here's my personal one is when we were in Hollister Hills, and you decided to take on the mud pit.
Yeah.
And it is one of my all-time favorite YouTube videos of ours, just for the in retrospect, the hubris we had to think that truck was going to make it through that mud pit.
Look, the reason I did that is because I wanted to demonstrate the whole, like, okay, what happens when you, like, fling. I would not do this. If we were out by ourselves, I would not fling my truck into a mud pit. The whole point of it was what happens when you fling an 80 into a mud pit. So we found out. But yeah,
it was really
Brenton
fun.
was there. I will tell you my personal favorite getting unstuck was when I was out by myself. And this also goes along with the worst stuck. You know, you're careful when you're out by yourself, but I was on a technical trail, and a boulder rolled underneath me. And, you know, that's the thing about going on a rocky, off the beaten track. It's like, you know, when I was setting chokers logging, it's been years, decades since I did that, but you had to be careful because you would step on a very large tree, and unlike a settled forest, it would roll like this. You just touch it just enough, and that tree would roll. So you had to be real careful. Well, the same happens with boulders on the trail. it looks stable. But what happened is I was slowly crawling over the boulder, and it rolled, and the truck dropped, and it sandwiched the differentials. I had a very large boulder behind me, behind the rear pumpkin, and I had a very large boulder in front of the front differential. So I was sandwiched. So I even locking up everything, I was not going to move. And then I used my winch, but I was so sandwiched that my winch, it got to that really uncomfortable point where you're pulling and it just starts to bind and sink your rig into the suspension. It just went, and I was like, all right, that's going to pop. So I was stuck. And it took me a really long time, but what I did is I pulled out my bottle jack, got it, in under the rear axle. I jacked it up. I put small rocks underneath it, and then I moved to the front axle and just kept going back and forth and basically lifting the truck, inch by inch until I got it up high enough that I could then roll over. And that was very satisfying,
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Somebody called you out for your shirt.
Thank you. It's not my favorite unstuck story. I just remembered another one.
And the answer is, this is the navy blue version of the shirt. Yesterday was the light blue, which was a poly cotton blend. This is the 100% cotton. Very important.
It was in my drawer. I put it on.
I know, that is exactly how that works. Yep. Next.
T-shirt.
Next.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a red version?
A red version of...
yeah. Red Hawk, are you talking about a red version of the shirt? Let me know in the comments.
I'll make this story quick, you guys, because I know I'm telling stories, and it's like story time with Michael, but, hey, I'll tell this one quickly. My favorite unstuck was in the snow. I sunk the rig to the axles. It was a comedy. It was a comedy of errors. I pulled that's when I pulled the infamous yank the cable off the winch spool maneuver. I pulled it out, and it just so happened that the cable was just long enough to get around a tree, and what I didn't know was I was down to the last wind on the winch. And so I bumped, all I did was bump the winch line, because another lesson, I did not visually inspect the winch spool, but I was in a safe position. I'm always in a safe position when I'm winching, because if you're not, that could really go bad. But anyway, I'm in a safe position. I bump the winch line, bump. The winch goes dunk, dunk, and then I watch as my cable flies through the air away from the truck into the trees and the bushes, because it popped off the spool. So I'm just like, I'm in the snow, and it was so slick that the wheels would spin in idle. And then, the reason it's my favorite story is because I hear somebody pull up behind me. I'm at this point, I'm digging in muddy. I walk behind me, and he's like, Michael. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Because, I am off grid. I'm out in the middle of no place. He's like, hey, member 14283, what's going on? You need some help? I'm like, no. No. But yeah, so he pulled me back to where I had traction. It's just my favorite story because a member, found me and saved my bacon.
Yeah, Christina, I think that's my worst nightmare about overlanding. It's definitely
getting stuck.
Definitely to be considered and taken seriously, and find out seek out other people's stories. Because we say it as we joke all the time of ask us how we know.
Yeah. let me
find all of the stories and then
Yep.
plan around it. Do you have the talking stick?
No.
Okay. You can have it.
Okay, I have the talking stick. I want to reassure you that you can almost always get unstuck. The really bad stuff is the mud, and that's why I tell people to be really careful if they're going out to places that appear to be dry, but in fact, just under the surface, it's mud, because you can really get stuck bad. But in most cases, even if you lose traction, you bring out your jack, your bottle jack, you lift up the vehicle, and you put things under the wheels, and eventually you can roll out of the situation. Most situations you can do that with. So, you know, be assured by that, but be super careful if you think there's a chance that underneath the dry surface it could be muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're using the hashtag let your wife talk again. Just kidding. I do not have that problem in life.
She doesn't.
I really don't. Oh,
you guys have just
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
You guys have just never heard or never seen Corey tell me to shut up.
I don't.
Shut up.
I encourage you to take more consideration with the amount of syllables coming out of your mouth, sir. Thank you. Okay.
Otherwise,
shut up.
Also seen as, think about what you say next very carefully.
Very carefully. You're going to want to be really, really specific about what you say next. Okay. What else we got here? Off to the desert for you, solo. Ha 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 ha. Fabio, I do not want to relive the Jon Snow versus a German Shepherd story.
Did not go well.
Not fun.
Did not go well.
That was not fun.
Jon Snow lost.
But he won.
But he won. He lost, but he won.
Yeah, I've had 2 scary run-ins with my dog, with other dogs on trails. So.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the tiny dog.
Yeah, I mean,
guys,
look, he looks. I mean,
he's a snack.
I don't blame these.
He's a snack.
I'm so confused right now.
Sometimes I get my prey drive going when I see him. I'm like, ooh.
Oh my God, how many garbage trucks do you guys get? Okay, so they're doing some painting across the street.
Yeah.
And they have one of those boom things, those crane lift, and every time it moves.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, so they're doing some work just around the corner, and so you guys have been hearing it.
Okay. Yes, Christina.
You thought it was our mic suck. It looks like a dead cat for your mic.
Well,
yeah, it's true.
So Christina, something. So Ben Reeves just said something. That's why you practice recovery before you need it, and you don't go to the NFL to learn to play football. LOL. That is very funny. Yeah. So Christina, practice.
Yep.
Do whatever. I think just running the scenarios in your head, researching all of the possible worst case scenarios, and then strategically just acquiring the gear necessary, and then it'll just peace of mind. You'll have peace of mind.
Safe recovery is a huge category, and there's a lot to learn to be good at it, so you have to apply yourself to it. Winch recovery, jack recovery, all kinds of different recoveries, what to do, what not to do.
Okay. I think you need to check mic settings. Quality may be set to low. We're using the mic on the camera.
It's an iPhone.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
Yeah.
Sound is no joke.
Sound is hard.
Gosh, it should be simple too. It just should be simple. Okay. Let me see, maybe what is that? Oh, what exactly is a HiLites jack for?
Oh, well, you can use it as you can use it as a come along, like a winch. You can use it to hammer in tent stakes. The last thing you want to use it for is recovery. That's the last thing you want to use it for. So a high lift jack is used for recovery, but you have to be really careful with it. And for me, I have a high lift jack because it comes in handy. It can even come in handy as jaws of life. You can, you know, open up steel with that thing. So it has many uses. And I do have one, but I use other methods of self-recovery before I use the high lift. Because the high lift, unless you really know how to use a high lift, they can be pretty dangerous. So just be very careful with the high lift. The other thing a high lift is used for, that I've used it for when shooting a video, is to pop the bead on a tire. You know, you can put it under your bumper. You can pop the bead on a tire. So it has many uses, and high lift is one of them, or recovery is one of them. Lifting up your rig. I love how
it's like.
Everyone tells me to shut up.
No.
Oh.
The high lift jack always seems to find people's shins, grab their shirt.
The side of your vehicle, if you don't do it right, it rocks in and out. It'll crumple your door. It'll catch your fingers.
I don't know.
But I wouldn't travel without one, is the truth. I've got it on my rig. It goes with me everywhere.
I think that Wayne Peary, I think you're being a rabble-rouser.
You being a rabble-rouser?
He says, high lift jack is to look cool. To look cool. I'm just kidding.
Make sure you put it right in front of your window.
Right in front of the window.
Right in front of your window.
No, like right
That's
on
where you
top
want
of
that. That's where you want it.
Like,
you know, that's the best place. And just, you know, a couple of butterfly bolts is fine. It'll hold it in there, no problem.
Yeah.
No, you know, have a really good mounting point for a high lift and make sure it is very secure. Those things are heavy.
Old school guys remember cars that came from the factory with a mini high lift jack. That must have been.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around for a long time, and they're very versatile and very useful. Just be careful when you do.
Yep. Let me see. I've got a whole bunch of things. Oh, the 3-in-1 first aid kit, the Mega Deluxe, all of that. We should have those coming back into stock early next week. You might be surprised by this, but the supply chain for first aid goods has gone a little screwy.
Yep.
So, yes, Overland Expo West, Jack, we will.
Is it happening? We don't know. We'll be there if it happens.
We'll be there. The thing we have to take into consideration, and this is the hard part, just being transparent, because you're all sitting here with us like it's our living room. So with my immune system and his asthma, we just have to be very, very aware of the thing that's creeping around.
We'll follow our local guidelines. If that's my take on it. Follow the local guidelines. If we're all good and everyone's saying, hey, let's go, then I'll be there. I'll see you guys there.
Yeah. What else?
Need another cooking video.
Yeah, all of the Overland Expos, we're media partners with them. We do video coverage for them, so we will be at every Overland Expo that's happening in 2020.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Best piece of kit gear, I'm going to say, and I'm not doing this to sell tents, but I'm going to say my Gazelle.
It's really good.
And here's why.
It's really good.
Because after a long day on the trail or wherever, going into your little nook and crawling up into your sleeping bag is freaking awesome. Read my book, my Louis L'Amour novel, and it's awesome. Or my Han Solo's Revenge fiction novel. Yeah, no, it's great. But I'm assuming you're not talking about the vehicle itself, right? Just kit gear. That's one of my favorite things.
David Hopkins, T3 or T Money, Gazelle? T3 or T Money? The T3. David,
T3.
My thing is T3. I think
perfect size.
It's a great, yes. Yeah. That's my take. If you want plenty of room, Mason, good to see you, man. You stay safe too. Again, Pam is in. Give him a hug for us, please. Give him a good squeeze.
See you, Mason.
If you want, so the T4 feels like the Taj Mahal. Serious, you can stand up in it. It's huge. The T3 is really great, just super compact size.
And the T99 makes me angry.
The T99.
Whatever that thing is it's like 2 T4s put together plus a frickin' atrium. I assembled that thing once, and I was like, this thing makes me mad. I don't ever want to assemble that again.
All right.
But it's awesome if you have 8 people. I mean, it's huge. It's just like, I need a trailer to tow the thing.
Yeah.
It's huge. Some people love it.
So there's one thing you can count on from us. It's the truth.
Oh, I don't hold back. Life's too short.
Searman, coldest night on the trail. Man, I don't know, that Moab.
I think it was Moab. One night at 12,000 feet. That was above Huntington Lake. Now, mind y'all, we are on the West Coast. It gets cold, and by cold I mean
it doesn't get cold.
I mean, you know, freezing or below freezing. I'm going to tell the one story, coldest night on the trail. We were all bundled up. I had the kids with me, and it was so cold. I was trying to pretend like it wasn't cold, and the kids looked like, I don't know, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They were like all the clothes. Miguel was much younger.
There we go.
He was kind of curled up in a little fetal position, shivering, and you know, there might have been tears. Anyway, it was pretty cold, but I was telling him he couldn't. Yeah, get off the ground. Not because I thought he was, you know, being soft, but because I was afraid that he wouldn't have circulation going, and I needed him to move. Because I was pretending like it wasn't cold, but it was actually cold. And while I was pretending it wasn't cold, I was eating oatmeal. We were all eating oatmeal. I took Miguel's bowl. I poured water in it to swish around in the bowl to clean it, and then I set it aside on the table and, you know, was doing something else, and I went back to grab it, and I looked at the water I had just poured into it, and it was frozen.
Cold.
It's cold. And then we went into town, we went into Lone Pine, and we walked through the front door of a coffee shop, and their mouths were open. They're like, "Are you guys camping?" And I was like, "Yeah, we went out, you know," and they were like, "This is record cold. This is the coldest it has been in like 3 decades." Anyway, it was very cold.
Hey, Chasing 2 Tracks just called you out. He's from Cali. It was probably 45 out.
It was not. Don't exaggerate. It was 42.
No, we are so lucky.
It was 42
42
degrees.
Well, there you go.
And I was like,
there you go. Yeah, no, Aries says, haha, come north to Ontario.
No kidding.
Cold.
No kidding. No.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of frigid right now. What time? How cold is it? What? It's probably 70 degrees right now.
Oh, 76. Okay. Gosh, what else? Are you going to do a vehicle comparison video? If you do, could you do one on pickup versus SUV for overlanding? Thank you. We have to coordinate that because
it's a good one. I'll get Dave Addington out here. I'll get Dave. I can Papa Dave out here with his Tacoma, his daily driver Tacoma. We'll do a my rig versus his rig.
Yeah, but I'll try and get I'd like to find like a big boy.
Dodge.
You know, yeah,
or a Silverado.
I don't. There's people doing interesting things with Suburbans that I like. Anyways.
I've driven them all, folks. Used to have a Chevy Silverado, had a Suburban, had a Volkswagen Adventure Wagon, had an FJ Cruiser, had an FJ 80. Mm-hmm. We had a SR5 Toyota with the 22R engine in it when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's Jeeps. A good suggestion, Lloyd. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion.
Raphael, any plans for an international road trip south of Mexico? Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to ship my vehicle to the tip of South America and drive it back.
My overlanding rig is an 82 Bronco. Heck, yes.
Bronco.
Yes. We're big Bronco fans over here.
We like the Broncos. I'm excited for the Bronco that's coming out.
I'm very excited for that.
Be interesting. There's been delays because, you know,
Because of the world.
Because of the world, but Be interested to see what that's all about.
Okay, and then there's a heat exchanger water shower install. There's a couple suggestions for us to do that.
If Ofer's still on and still watching, he's going to show me how to do a heat exchanger shower install.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would. Ofer, are you on? With his, he has the 80 series, has a heater core mounted amidship, and he runs that, the water from the heater core through a couple of containers. He's got a pressure regulator, and then he mixes it with cold water.
Let's just do a video on that.
He has hot shower. He has a hot shower. So I would love, what we should do.
What
we should do is I'll order all the material, and we'll do some kind of install video.
Bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Thanks
for hanging out.
Always
really
good
appreciate
to see
it.
you, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and the video would be cool. Ofer's got it all down. Yes, you do have it on the forum.
Oh yeah, Ofer. We do have that on the forums.
Pink Kids T-shirt, please. David, I'm gonna work on that. Yep. Hey, Neil, what's up? Hi, bye. Aww. Best overall scenic trail you have taken. Oh my gosh, a plane.
I really like Spring Canyon Bottom in Utah. I really do like Spring Canyon Bottom in Utah. That's a jet.
I know. The air traffic around here has been considerably less.
Spring Canyon Bottom, it goes down to the Green River, but you basically follow a little ribbon of single track trail 10,000 feet above the canyon floor. Okay, maybe I exaggerated, but it is a cliff that drops down forever, and you wind down a little ribbon of single track, until you get down to a nice open valley with a creek that goes through it, and then, in the middle of all that Moab red rock, there's a green oasis, and it's a fantastic camping site. Now,
yeah, it was pretty neat.
If you guys look into Spring Canyon Bottom in Utah along the Green River, then you just want to be cautious of the weather and make sure that you do not camp somewhere that would get flooded by a flash flood.
Yes, be aware of that. Josh, good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on here. Have a good night.
Good night. Holy Cross Trail in Colorado. Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of trails and stuff like that we can share in our app that's coming out this month, you guys can record a trail. You can add it to the map, and you can make the location either private or public. So if you have your own spot that you like to go, you can mark it as private. It'll still show up on your app. But if you want to make it public for the community, you can share it with folks.
Let's see. Got a lot of good.
What do you think? Should we wrap this up? I know it's been kind of story time. I can tell stories. I like telling stories.
Mario said, "Hi guys. Did you ever think?"
Hi Mario.
Did you ever think Overland Bound would have grown to where it is today? A huge fan. That's a nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Boy, yeah. I just don't think you can predict that. The thing that I was really, really happy about is
Bye, Ofer.
The thing that I was really happy about was, what Overland Bound meant to me, and my reconnection with adventure and adventure travel, exploration, connection with nature. And when I went through that period of my life that was tough, and I did that, I was like, you know what? This is necessary. We have to do this to maintain balance. And the thing that was the most exciting for me was, when I was sharing that idea, the community was like, we absolutely agree. This is very important, and we agree. And so Overland Bound grew. And then our ethos and our founding principles, people rallied behind that too. Putting yourself out there and saying, hey, this is what I stand for. It can be intimidating, right? But people were like, we absolutely agree, and we stand for that too. And so it's been just awesome. I couldn't.
Kurt. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Kurt.
D. Cooper, enjoy that pizza and wine. That sounds awesome.
Oh, my goodness.
I like how you all say bye to us.
I do too. Bye. Hey, I think, are we about out? We about out?
Just wanted to thank you both. Oh, the face shields, Outsane and Lee. They are currently, the face shields are currently distributed or being distributed out to my nieces and nephews, and everyone in my family is going to make some, and then we're going to coordinate with Chris to get them properly distributed. So they're in progress.
I want to answer that question about a Gaia map layer. I want to answer that question.
Okay, Sierra Man. Corey, what's your camping history? Oh boy. What is my camping history? Did it a bunch as a kid. Didn't do it for a very long time. Had let the idea that because I have physical limitations, like it blocked me, prevented me from like thinking about hiking and traveling and being outside. Then I met him.
I was like, hey, sweetie, this rig will take you anywhere.
Not what he said. But he did have that vehicle on our first date.
Yeah, and she didn't run away.
No, you drove, like, you specifically did not park anywhere near the restaurant, and I saw this, like, profile of this truck with a snorkel.
I didn't want to scare her. I didn't want to scare her away.
It was very funny. Yeah, I agree. Super smooth, Stoner, because, you know. Anyways, that's it. And then I've said this a few times, and I'll keep saying it. When we first started going out and camping, like you picked me up like Friday night after a rehearsal. Like it was like 11 o'clock at night, and you picked me up, and we just drove.
They just go.
And got up to the mountains like around 3 a.m. You were eating your ice the entire time. And then, like, the places that I got to experience, there's no way I would have been able to experience them if I had to hike. I just can't do it. You guys can see, like, see that, like, bump? This is crazy. RA is no joke. It'll get you.
Sucks.
Totally sucks. They're really liking how you talk to me. Your line about the truck. It'll get you where you want to go. Anyways.
They might go fast. I go anywhere.
Yeah. All right. Updates for the app. Sorry, I removed it because it was using too much phone battery because I had tracking turned on. Red Hawk, I think these are all things that are
kind of known things
that are being worked on. Yeah.
Very, very alpha, right? So there's the tracking thing. So these are things that we're improving. But I also want to, so somebody mentioned about the Overland Bound Gaia layer. I've got Gaia on my phone, but back to the beginning, what we have always, the community is like first and foremost for us. And so we wanted an app that incorporated the community with mapping. And so you'll see when the app comes out, community is core, contact with the community is core, and mapping and navigation are a part of that. And so we will be sharing Overland Bound tracks, trips, trails. We've got hundreds of thousands of points on our map currently. That'll all be available through the app, and we'll be, adding locations and tracks to the map through our app. So we'll focus on that as opposed to creating something specifically in Gaia. We'll probably put it in our app.
Yep.
As will many of our other members.
Yeah. We gotta eat dinner.
All right.
50 minutes. Sorry.
She just said it's dinner time.
Yeah,
I didn't hurry us.
We can talk.
I didn't hurry us. I was just like, all right, let her roll. Let it roll. So, all right, you guys. We're gonna wrap things up. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. It's nice to have a sense of community when we're all sheltered.
Good.
So thank you,
Shannon. Good to see. I like seeing the names I recognize.
Yep. Good night.
Rodrigo, always good to see you, man.
Yep. Good to see you guys.
Stoner. See you, Stoner.
We'll be on the trail soon enough, you guys.
Good talking to you, Wayne. Thanks for chatting.
Yep.
And,
All right, you guys.
if we missed a question, I apologize. Jump back on. We're hanging here.
Yep.
We'll
Comments are a little weird. I don't think when the video publishes, it has all your
Yeah.
comments. It'd be so awesome if it did, but it doesn't. But feel free to follow up with comments. And even when we hit the end button, Corey chats on the comment for a few minutes. So
Yeah.
if you guys got any follow-up questions, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
chat.
it.
You guys are awesome. Are we out?
And
And we're out.
5,
Push
4,
the button,
3,
Frank.
2, and